Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another Caster Chronicles spoiler talk. So I'll be going over this last week's spoilers, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. Another quick side thing, I mentioned this in the Force of One news, but a cool thing they're doing with the Soulbond Conjure is there's different art variants it looks like. I'm not quite sure how that rarity will work into the set itself, if it'll replace the secret rare signature cards from before or what have you, but it's a pretty cool idea, especially since Soulbond applies to so many things. But speaking of which, we got our Soulbond servants again. We didn't have them last week, so it's cool to see them again. So first we have Flume Heidi. So her recipe involves Flame Rouge and Chain of Hearts, and she's 1,000, and her enter abilities, you return target servant to its owner's hand. Now this is a really good one. I actually really like that. I think returning the ability to return servants and stuff to their owner's hand is extremely strong. It doesn't have any sort of limitations on how big the servant or small it has to be. You can just do anything you want, so you can get rid of some really big hitters or just ones that are sort of annoying and in your way in the reverse position, anything like that. And you can do that up to 3 times technically, so I think there's a lot of potential in that one. I really like it. So Flame Rouge is a 1-cost caster, and its ability is draw a card if an allied servant destroyed an enemy servant in battle this turn. And the Chain of Hearts was draw a card if an enemy servant was returned to its owner's hand from the field this turn. And so obviously those abilities can work in, or that ability can work in conjunction with that Soulbond servant as well. So that's kind of cool if it's on the field. Another Soulbond servant is Karuru Scentline. So she has Twinkle Charm and Zoe Russell as her 2 recipes. Another 1,000. Her enter ability is target enemy player banishes a servant. So this ability is kind of interesting. So it's similar to the last one. It helps get rid of servants. It's banished, so you don't get to choose which servant you're getting rid of. Your opponent gets to choose. So there's sort of that drawback. However, banishing obviously is destruction. So you get rid of that servant. There's no chance of it bouncing back in from your opponent playing again. So it's sort of a whatever you might prefer, and especially depends on the situation for sure. Because especially if your opponent only has 1 or 2 servants, then the banishing would be the better option because you just get rid of it permanently. And if they're dead drawing, maybe they're not getting the servants they need, then that could be extremely hurtful for them. So Twinkle Charm is the draw card if you drew a card by the effect of a conjure this turn. And Zoe Russell is draw a card if an allied servant was destroyed in battle this turn. And then we have Lineal. She has some interesting flavor text. But she puts target conjure in an enemy graveyard on the bottom of its owner's deck. So that's going to be really handy, especially with this new set coming out. As I keep mentioning, a lot of bouncing goes on this set, both bouncing from the field as well as the graveyard back into your hand and different things like that. So if you want your opponent not to be able to bounce stuff, especially if there's an ability to bounce, say, Soulbond Conjure back into their hand so they can keep playing it, this is a very easy and quick way to get rid of those types of effects. Next is Haru Michelle. So her ability is corrupt target enemy orb if your opponent played a conjure this turn. So this is really good because it basically limits or makes your opponent have to play around playing conjures if she's untapped, because you can just tap and do that, especially with how strong Soulbond could be and how much it could be played. This seems really strong though, especially for a level 1 caster. Just being able to lock your opponent out of playing conjures as long as she's untapped is a really interesting move. We'll see how that plays out, but that's a really strong caster in my opinion, especially for level 1. Next we have Vampirus, a 6-cost servant, 3,000, and she has the ability of whenever this card corrupts an orb, put the top card of your deck into an allied orb zone, face down as an orb. So I really like this effect because she's a decently strong size for 6 cost. Definitely, you know, not as strong as it could be for 6. Also great flavor text as well. But just the idea of you corrupting their orbs and populating your orbs at the same time, so you're just like getting more shields essentially as you break down their shields in a sense, is a really cool idea. I really like that effect. Whether that's feasible or makes sense for 6 cost, I'm not sure with all the effects that are coming out in this set, but we'll see. Next we have Flambe. She taps banish this card, search your deck for a level 1 card named Stella, and put it into your field, then shuffle your deck. Play this ability only if you don't control a card named Stella, obviously. So Stella is the level 1 caster that has tap ability of return target allied caster to its owner's hand. So a lot of interesting, there's been a couple casters with a similar fashion to that, so it's interesting that sort of play they're going for. Next we have Aria Citrus. So she taps and banishes this card, search your deck for a level 1 card named Kira Centura and put it into the field, then shuffle your deck. So once again, more cards like this, searching for other casters. It's I'm sure there's a lot of interesting cool combos you can do with this type of ability. I can think of a couple, but I'm not that creative, so I'm sure we'll see a lot as this set comes out. Another level 2 caster, this is Corella. She has the ability to banish another Corella and target allied servant, gains plus 1,000 attack till end of turn, so pretty standard there. You can also tap her and discard a caster to destroy target enemy servant with cost 2 or less. Next, this one I was pretty excited to see is Sun Wukong. So it's a 3-cost servant, obviously based on Wukong, which I thought was kind of cool. 2,000 attack, 0 defense. As the enter ability, if you search your deck for a yokai with total cost 1, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So basically a very similar card to Zubaji in my Sweets deck, just a red version that goes for yokai instead. So that's cool to have, same cost and everything. Next is Ray Ranpole. It's a pretty cool looking card. I'm really digging the art on this one. She has a tap ability, banish this card, search your deck for a level 1 card named Mona Style and put it into your field. Once again, just more of this searching type of thing. Next is Tukawa. It's a 1-cost, just vanilla servant with 500 attack. We have Lilia Chocolate, 1-cost or level 1 caster. Remove a number of sweets in an allied graveyard from the game equal to the cost of target enemy servant. If you do destroy that servant, play this ability only during your main phase. So really cool orange support there, especially for my Sweets deck and stuff like that. Your graveyard really will get populated with Sweets rather quickly, especially with the 1 cost and different things like that, which makes it so, for example, if you have those 4 sweet cookies or whatever they're called, I forget their name now, but the cookies, you suddenly can destroy a 4-cost servant just with her tap ability. So that's a really good ability, especially late game when your graveyard starts to populate there. Next we have Patissier. So this is a 4-cost servant, 2,000, 2,000. Enter, target enemy player discards 2 cards. So I actually kind of like that. It's a Sweets as well, so that'll go right into my orange deck nicely. I like that it's 2 cards instead of just 1, so it really hits your opponent hard, in my opinion, and I think it just works out really well. It's a pretty decent 4-cost. And lastly, we have another level 1 caster, Broomspika. Similar ability to the other ones. Banish this card, search your deck for a level 1 card named Hiru Michelle and put it into the field. Yeah, just a pretty standard thing, I guess, is what they're doing a lot with these a lot of these casters. So a lot of switching out. I'm curious what the... Gosh, I know there's combos. I'm just drawing a blank, but... I'm curious to see how that'll play out with a lot of those cards. If you guys can think of stuff, let me know. But yeah, so that's all the spoilers for this week. A lot of cool stuff. I'm happy to see more Soulbond stuff. I'm pretty excited to see how that plays out in decks and different things like that. I'm excited to see more Sweet support. I really like my orange deck with the Sweets in it, so that was cool to see. So I'm pretty excited. I think we're winding down with the spoilers. We're getting to the end here because there was a last spoilers for several different colors here, so... yeah, I don't know how long they're doing this for, but we'll have a couple more spoiler videos, hopefully, maybe just one. We'll find out. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.